Hello and welcome to this video on 10 tips for optimizing your Flutter apps. In this video, we'll discuss some best practices for improving the performance of your Flutter apps. Let's get started. Tip number 1. Use STATELESSWIDGET instead of STATEFULWIDGET when possible. STATELESSWIDGET is a type of widget in Flutter that does not have any mutable state, whereas STATEFULWIDGET is a widget that can hold mutable state. Using STATELESSWIDGET instead of STATEFULWIDGET can be more performant in cases where mutable state is not necessary. Tip number 2. Keep your widget tree shallow. Avoid nesting too many widgets inside each other. Each nested widget adds to the processing time, so keeping your widget tree shallow will improve performance. Tip number 3. Use CONST constructors. If your widget has static properties, use a CONST constructor to make it more efficient. Tip number 4. Use the right widget for the job. Choose the widget that fits the use case. For example, use a list view builder instead of a grid view if you need to display a list of items. Tip number 5. Use keys judiciously. Use keys to identify widgets that need to be rebuilt. However, don't overuse keys as they can negatively impact performance. Tip number 6. Use the appropriate state management technique. Choose the right state management technique based on your app's needs. For example, use provider if you need to share data across multiple widgets. Tip number 7. Avoid excessive use of SETSTATE. Excessive use of SETSTATE can negatively impact performance. Instead, consider using a state management technique that provides a more optimized solution. Tip number 8. Optimize images. Optimize images before adding them to your app. Use compressed images and consider using the Flutter Image Network widget to load images on demand. Tip number 9. Use the performance overlay. The performance overlay helps you identify performance issues in your app. Use it to optimize your app's performance. Tip number 10. Profile your app. Use the Flutter Dev tools to profile your app and identify performance bottlenecks. Then, use the Insights game to optimize your app's performance. That's it for our 10 tips for optimizing Flutter apps. We hope you found these tips helpful in improving the performance of your Flutter apps. If you have any other tips or suggestions, please leave them in the comments below. Thanks for watching.